So this is looking at the Trimble Canoid tablet. Let's get started in here. Once you got Trimble Field Light opened up, it's going to either open up to your last job or it's going to open up to this jobs tab here. So you can manage the jobs that we have in here. So I'm using a keyboard and mouse right now as opposed to the stylus to keep the screen clear. And you can see which jobs you have, how many points you have in here, lines staked, and so on. So you can create a job here, and let's just name this example. And just simple as this, it's click create. So when you started out in here, you're gonna have a blank job slate. You can either place points generally going around and stake it using the total station, or you can go into here and your point manager, and you can place points in here. So if you click it, a point down, and hit create, it'll show up with this point created. Down here, you're given the scale to see where you're working at, and you can create points off of certain points. So I'm just going to put a couple points in here. Create. So I've made a square, which I don't know how far apart this is. If I want to go in here and measure, I can go up to this top left corner and click the measuring. And I could click 2 points, and this would show me the distance, which is 2 foot 2 3/4 inches. To get out of this, simply click the ruler again, and you're gone. Now if I wanted to create, say, an arc between here, I'm going to create another point in here that I could create an arc off of. I'm going to go to this, which would be an arc, and I can select 2 points. And zooming out, I can choose which way this is going, which way it's facing, and that gives me the chance to either create an arc in here or just create the small angle between it. Click any point and it'll jump to that, and you can see it switches. Now this is my offset, so if I wanted to, so now that we've got some points in here, we can go and put some lines in. So what to do that, go to create, and you will go to line work, and it'll bring up this menu. In your bottom left hand corner, you have the different lines you can choose to create. Your regular to, click between 2 points, and this will create a line. To create an arc, click your 2 points, and then you can drag, choose your radius of this, which would be typed in, so I'm going to say 10. I guess you can't do 10, and this will be in feet, and you've given it a length of 10 feet. You can also offset lines. This third option down here is the line manager. So if you want to break an area into separate lines, you could break that. So to change that, you can click in here, and this will change how many segments it is. So say I don't want 3, I want to break this down into 5 parts. This is now broken into 5 separate points that you could lay out. So if you need to do like a baseline offset and wanted to know where these points were, you could set in there, and it would create your points inside of here. To get out of this, click out, and if you need to delete this section, you can delete this. So you can delete these sections as you need to. You can as well just delete your points. And delete them. So from our sample job that we've created in here, we want to connect eventually to our total station. So in order to do that, I'm going to go to device. I've already got my station powered on, and you're going to check your channel and network, which if you look at your station in this front screen here, will display which channel and network you are on. keep those in, you simply select connect. And it'll say that you are connecting to your station. So we're choosing the central one because this is the station you've selected. We do not have a GPS to connect to, or the RT600. So with this, we need to level our instrument. What we can do is assume that we are looking at our bubble. And ideally, we'd want to get these sighted into as level as we can. So we want our trunnion to be at 0 minutes and 0 seconds, and same for our sighting. Temperature, you'd want to look up and see what you're at. So I'm just going to assume we're at 72 in here. With that, I'm going to accept this. So I'm going to want to set up. So I don't know where I'm at in here. But looking at this, I'm given my prism. So I'm going to click. I need to go and connect. All right, I'm connected there. And I want to be in prism mode. So I'm going to select this rod, and using a normal rod, you can tell where you're at. And so we are wanting to use this in active mode. Active mode means that that our station will track where the prism is located. And the RMTID is, if you look at the bottom of your prism, it'll give you numbers on here for which ID. So we are going to want to be on channel 1. It switches on. And now this will be searching for target 1. We are using the MT1000 as our prism. You can choose between 360 foils or the AT360. And we are going to want to search for the target. So with that, the station will begin to search for it. So, no targets found. What do you do from there? What you can do from here is actually direct the instrument and see where you are at. So what you can do is you click in here, the central one, through the connection, it'll actually show up an image of where you are located at, and you can control which way it goes with your slider here. So you can move it side to side with our fine grain. So what we would be doing here is rotating the instrument by control on here. So I have this roughly sighted on to where the prism is at. I would go back to the view prism, and search for it. Oh. So now you should be sighted onto there. So now we're going to want to set up our points. So in here, device, we're going to want to set up. And so we have three options here. We can set up on a point and turn angles to determine our location, or we could set up at an arbitrary location and measure 2 points to see where they sit at. So I'm going to say I want to set up at an arbitrary location. So to do that, I will measure point 102. So we haven't set up our instrument yet. So I've gone to the measure and I want to lay out points, and I'm going to click on setup. So I want to select the points I'm going to measure. So I'm going to select point 103. In order to measure a point, I would select this icon in the top right. And it is measuring. So it has that point in here. So now I want to move this roughly, we're going to give prism 2 feet. And you are roughly set in there. So I'm going to measure again. I don't know where this is at, and we have lost the target. So now, since this has gone away, we have refound the item, and we are going to want to measure a point. Active 3 feet. We are searching for target. When just searching, it'll move around within about a 30-degree arc to look for it. So as you can see, it's not quite the most accurate, so you may have to move this to adjust where it is searching from, or you can select in the menu to turn to a point, and the instrument will turn to said point if it knows where it is located at. So, we haven't found the target. I'm going to close out of this menu. I'm going to open a viewport, and I know I need to move this slightly over. So I will move this so it is roughly facing where our prism is located. And I will attempt to find it. So, unreliable. So that means our points are not where they should be. Ideally, you would like to have 2 points that you know exactly where you're at, so you can accurately set up your instrument's location. So I'm going to want to lay out some points. I'm going to accept this out of tolerance. So what I just did there, this button down here is an offset button, and we could offset points with this. So with our items set up roughly where they should be, displaying where we are at, so went a little over our appropriate length, we can move around our prism and this will, and we can shoot in new points of where this is at. So that with this track, I can measure in this new point that they want by clicking on measure button. So measuring this, I'm going to want to collect some points. So I've clicked set, and that has set our instrument setup. So with the prism moved, this orange icon shows up, showing me where my prism is located. And I can collect points based off that. So it's beyond our setup, but we do have another point set in there.